In this video, we're going to talk about how to make money selling leads, and specifically we're going to be talking about some lead generation pricing strategies. So if you're excited about selling leads, go ahead and smash that like button for me right now. And also, if you're new to the channel and you maybe just stopped by this video or this live stream while I'm live right now, hey, welcome aboard. Again, I'm Paul James. I've got the t-shirt on today. Do me a favor and subscribe. You can do that right below this video. And after you subscribe, comment below saying I've subscribed so that I can reply back to you. I'll do my very best to reply back to everyone. And yeah, I just want to welcome you to the YouTube family. So I do these types of videos pretty often. Today we're going to be talking about lead generation. So let's get into it. What is lead generation? Why should it be something that you're interested in as a business model? So the lead generation business model is something that I got into when I first started. Along with the maps business, I kind of did a combo model. I did lead generation on Google Maps. Now the reason why I did this was because when I got started, it was like I had long hair, I was in a band at the time, and business owners didn't really take me seriously, to be honest. So, when I had the long hair, I didn't look really professional, and people just, weren't really taking me seriously. So I wanted to come up with a way where I could kind of prove myself to them before I even tried to sell them anything, basically. So that's why I decided to get into lead generation initially. And the beautiful part about lead generation is because you're kind of putting your money where your mouth is, so to speak, and you already have some tangible proof that you can do what you say you can do before you even are trying to sell them anything. So if you go to a business owner and say, hey, check out these leads I have, try them out. Like, you don't even have to sell them right away. You can actually let them try them out. There's no denying it. If they get a couple good leads from you, they're not going to want those to stop. It's going to be like chopping their own arm off to make those leads stop, right? So that's what's so beautiful about the lead generation model and why I think it's such a good business to get into. So let's talk about what are some good niches to sell leads in. So some good niches that you can sell leads in are the skilled trade niches. That's what I really like to do. Especially when I first started, I went into the heating niche, as many of you guys know, and then I went into roofing, and then I went into plumbing, and I even did some different stuff with like lawyers and stuff like that. I had a bankruptcy attorney that I very first started off working with, and he needed leads to help business owners get credit. So I was working with him on that, which was cool. So yeah, there's lots of good niches to go into. I would say that you should pick a niche that you're passionate about. That's always helpful. Or even if you're not passionate about something, but you have some background on it and you know about it, then that's a good niche to go into as well, because you're going to be able to connect more with the business owner if you know something about the business, right? Like if you go into a niche where you have some background and you have some common things that you know what they're, you know the industry, it's going to be a lot easier to kind of connect with them. So yeah, that's kind of some different things. Now, let's talk about pricing and some different pricing options that you go with. So when we're talking about lead generation, we're literally talking about you work with like a heating company who needs leads for a furnace, right? They want to put in new furnaces or they want to fix furnaces. And your job as the lead broker or the person selling the leads is to go out and find the leads and then sell the leads to them so that they can go out and basically get the job, get the furnace job or get the repair job. So you have a little bit of choices when it comes to selling the leads. So you can either do a pay per lead model, which basically means they pay per the lead no matter whether they get the job or not. So say you have a phone line and you transfer the phone line to them, and every time the phone rings, they pick it up and there's a live lead on the call. So you can do this with call tracking services. One that I really like are callfire.com, which is really good. So you can check them out. And callfire.com is great because you can basically forward the call over to them. And you don't have to play middleman. You don't have to get on the phone. It just automatically goes to them. You can track how many calls came in, and then you can send them a report at the end of the month and charge them for those calls. So that's kind of like the pay per lead model, which you're basically charging per lead. Now, you can get an idea on pricing by calling around the competition and asking, how much do you charge to install a furnace? So maybe someone tells you they charge $1,500. Well, now you can kind of, guess between 7 and 10% might be willing to be what they're willing to pay for a lead for that. Or you might just go even cheaper and just say, okay, I'm going to charge you $25 or $50 per phone call that comes in. Whether you get the job or not, this is what it's going to be. Now that can really start to add up if you get 100 phone calls in a month, or even if you get 10 phone calls in a month. I mean, 10 phone calls times $25, that's $250 a month off of one single lead gen client. So you can see how that can really start to add up. So give me some like buttons if you like that model, if you like the pay per lead model and you like that idea, because you're basically building digital assets that you can go on and you can sell, and you always have that. So let's talk about the other business model, which would be a percentage basis. So the percentage-based business model is where you're not charging on a per lead basis, you're charging on a percentage basis. So what that means is that you don't get to charge whether they get the job or not. You get to charge on a percentage basis on if they get the job. Now, there's some pros and cons to this. The pros is that you're going to be able to charge a lot more because they successfully got the job and you're more of like a business partner. The cons, though, on the other hand, are that because you have to wait till they get the job, if they're bad salesmen or if they just aren't very good at selling, then you're missing out and they could blow the lead. But I found on average, you can actually email business owners yourself and ask this, but I found on average that business owners are willing to pay about 10% of a successful job. So let's say that they go out there and they sell a furnace for $3,000, right? If you get 10% of that, that's $300 for every successful one that you get. But again, there's pros and cons to that. Some other cons is that you have to have a good relationship with them. So you'd have to make sure that you can trust them, that they're actually getting the job and that they're actually telling you that they got the job. Now, one way around this is that you could do kind of honesty control is what I call it. And you call up the customers because you can see the phone number that they call from and all that stuff. And you can actually hear if they got the job. You can actually listen to the phone calls if you wanted to. You'd have to make sure you work that deal out with the person to make sure that they're aware of that and all that good stuff. But you could actually go and call up and follow up with the customer and say, hey, this is Paul. I'm calling you to make sure that everything went good with the furnace installation and that you're happy with everything. And, I see here we billed you X amount. And you could keep things honest that way, just randomly call some people once in a while and just make sure you're not catching the person in a lie. But usually, if you're going to have a good relationship with them, you're going to have a good relationship with them and you're going to trust them. And that's just kind of the way it goes. You have to know whether or not you can trust them. So yeah, I see some people in the chat box talking about PBNs and all of that stuff. Now, PBNs, private blog networks, those are some things that we use to rank sites, right? And someone's saying about it being illegal to use PBNs. It's not illegal to use PBNs. You're not breaking any laws. Google does not like you backlinking at all, though, right? Google only wants sites to show up because people are naturally linking to them, right? That's what Google considers natural link building. The problem is that it's kind of like a vicious circle. If no one knows your sites exist, how are they going to go and link back to you, right? So what SEOs do is they basically go out and get their own backlinks. And yeah, Google really, it's not really something that Google likes, that backlink. People go out there and buy backlinks or they go and get backlinks. But you're not breaking any laws. You might not be following their rules, but lots of people don't follow rules with stuff, right? So as far as that goes, any type of SEO is against Google's terms of service, quite frankly, because any type of backlinking anyways, where you're not getting them organically, where you're not having people just randomly link to your site, because they literally want real people linking back to the site. So as SEOs, some SEOs do a little bit gray hat, I guess you could call it. I wouldn't even call it black hat. I think black hat would be considered when you're hurting someone or you're doing something that is unethical and you're hurting someone. Gray hat, I would be like, you're maybe breaking Google's rules, but it's not hurting anyone. So, that's to each of their own, however you want to do it. If you want to sit around and wait for someone to naturally link to your site, which is never going to happen because no one's ever going to naturally link to your site because they're never going to know about it. It's a vicious circle. That's why SEOs out there go and they backlink and they create their own backlinks, because it's basically what you have to do. Now, what happens if you get caught? What happens if you get caught backlinking a site and you weren't supposed to? Well, Google penalizes the site, and basically what that means is once you remove the backlinks that weren't supposed to be there, they re-index your site again. So something went wrong because your site stops getting traffic, your site basically drops off the index. So yeah, you can do some more research on that yourself, but that's the long and short of it. And there's lots of people out there who, have a misunderstanding of what's black hat and what's not, but the truth is that any kind of backlinking strategy is black hat, guys. Or not black hat, I'd say gray hat, but any type of backlinking strategy Google does not like, unless it's from real people who found your site naturally and are linking back to it. But quite frankly, it's a vicious circle, right? Because it's just never going to happen. Okay, so let's talk about call tracking. I see a lot of people asking about call tracking and how that works. So again, like I said, callfire.com, that's your go-to site. And Callfire is going to give you your own phone number. You own this phone number, you put it on all of your digital assets, and someone who needs a furnace calls that lead. They call that phone number. Now that phone number can be pushed over to the person you're selling the leads to. You don't have to play middleman. You forward it over, they get the calls automatically, and then you basically track that. So that's kind of how that works. Now what I like about lead generation is that you build assets. These assets can be different websites, they can be YouTube videos that talk about, furnaces and that are ranking for a certain city, like it could be like Milwaukee furnace repair or something like that. And on these assets that you build, you put your call tracking phone number. So every time someone finds them, they call your phone number, automatically forward it over to the person you're selling the leads to, and you get paid either per lead or on a per job basis. Again, you work that out. So how does this compare to client SEO, meaning where you get paid just to rank someone's website? Well, there's some pros and cons there. Again, when I first started, I kind of did a little bit of both, and you can actually use Google Maps as well to drive leads too. You can do that too. So if you're already doing stuff with Google Maps, you can still do lead gen as well. You can kind of work with it. Instead of selling rankings, you basically sell leads, and you help them rank their listing and sell leads for them. So they pay on a per lead basis rather than monthly. So that's basically the main difference, is that rather than them paying you, say, $1,000 per month, they pay you per lead. So there's some pros and cons to both, because you're getting paid off of your performance. So if your performance is really good, you'll probably be making a lot more than $1,000 a month. If your performance isn't so good, then you might make less. But on the flip side, it's a lot easier to get clients. Way easier to get clients if you're getting paid per performance, because they have no risk, right? They have no risk of whether you can do what you say you can do, because you only get paid if they make money. You only get paid if they get the leads. So there's some trade-offs there. So do we have any questions, guys? I'm going to stick around just for a little bit longer and answer some questions. I'm starting to get really cold out here, actually, though. Believe it or not, it's Florida, but it's kind of cold in the morning right now. I don't know why. It's like in the 60s. Okay, what do we have here? Any questions? Go ahead and drop them into the live chat. I know we're a little bit delayed on the live stream. I saw some coming in though, so I missed them though because I was talking. How do you find the leads? So you can, like I said, you can build assets, like you can rank videos. You can do, Henry says you can do pay-per-click, or can you do pay-per-click? Yes, you can do pay-per-click. You can post ads on Facebook. You can do search engine optimization and build websites. And that's pretty cool, because once you have an asset that is already ranked and set up, I mean, you never really touch it again. It's kind of like, think of yourself like that landlord who goes and buys a property, and instead of flipping the property, they just find a tenant. So then that tenant pays them monthly. How can we find leads for ourselves for affiliate marketing? If you're doing affiliate marketing, it's kind of in a different vein of things, kind of off topic of this video, but with affiliate marketing, I would say pay-per-click is probably your best bet. And content marketing in general, much like the stuff I do on the YouTube channel is a lot of content marketing, where you're providing a lot of value up front, and that way, you build up trust and authority with people. Any other questions? I'm going to drop a link in the description box after I get off this live stream. It's going to be pauljames.com/more leads, and it's a free workshop that I have on lead generation if you guys are interested. And basically I talk about automation. Someone says, I deal with restaurants right now. Would the Rep Guardian software be good? Yes, the Rep Guardian software, my ideal niche to target with that is actually restaurants. So I'd highly recommend it. Henry says, I find it easy to find clients. Yeah, I think with lead generation, it's way easier to find clients. And that's one of the pros about it versus client SEO. You don't have that exact monthly income number to count on, but it's way easier to find clients. Henry says, but I don't have any tech skills. You can outsource a lot of this stuff. I mean, someone was talking about PBN links. There's lots of places to buy PBN links from if you want to rank sites that way. There's lots of people you can outsource to. There's article writing, so you can outsource all of that. So you can outsource quite a bit of stuff. But again, I'm going to have some automation training, free workshop that I'm going to link in the description. Also, you can just go to pauljames.com/more, M-O-R-E, leads, L-E-A-D-S. No spaces, just pauljames.com/more leads. So if you want to check that out, it's going to be a free workshop that I'm holding. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I'm getting like super cold out here. I don't want to get sick. But we'll see you in the next video. Leave me a comment after I get off this live stream and let me know what you want to see in the next live stream, because again, this stuff is really interactive. So, all right, guys, we'll see you next time. Peace out. Paul James here, signing off.